Well, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, and welcome to part 5 of the Battlestar Galactica build-up from the original TV series with Lauren Green. So, I'm pretty much done. It's ready for assembly at this point. I just finished repainting the last of the parts. I don't know what happened, but some of the parts turned a different shade of the base color, and I don't understand why. It's like a bluish or bright, or I think it's more like a bluish color versus the color that it is now. And so I broke down, had to actually just strip it and just repaint it and rewash it again, but it worked. The biggest culprit was the flight pods, but now they're pretty close to, or as close as I'm going to get them, I think. Anyway, I just want to go over the wiring and lighting. I don't know if I really got to kind of go into that in depth on my last video, so I will do it on this video for those that either just join in or just want to know a little more how I did the lighting and wiring. So we'll start with the head of the ship. It's a very basic lighting system. I used warm white LED strip tape, and the reason why warm white is because in all the shows I've watched, the lighting was definitely a warm white. So after drilling all the holes for the windows, I just put a piece of tape or LED strip tape on either side here, and I did one or two in the top. I think it was only one pointing downward. I did that to light up the trench here where I draw some holes. In the midsection, I just have two LED strips going down either side for light. The star drive, a little different. I took the sprues and I made 3 standoffs, if you can see them there on the inside, and I attached 3 strips of, or three strips of LED bright white, and I attached them to the standoffs pointing straight out towards the star drive section, or the light, the end of the star drive. And I did that because I wanted as much brightness to hit the back side of the star drive as possible. And then I took all 3 of those strips and tied them into 2 wires, as I did the same thing with the battle head, or the head of the ship, down to 2 wires, and same thing with the midsection, down to 2 wires. The only thing different with the midsection is this is the central hub for all the wiring to come through. So what I did was I ran pigtails wiring out of both connection points to the flight pods, the front and the back, and I did this to join up with the pigtails on the ends. And then of course I'll cut them to length and I'll put them all in. The flight deck or flight pod, very simple. I have a light strip going almost full length, and it actually jets past the force perspective template that they give you by about 3 LEDs, or SMDs, I'm sorry. And the reason why I did that, I'm sorry, lost my train of thought. Anyway, the reason why I did that is because I wanted to illuminate the very front part of the opening here going to the force perspective template. And if I didn't take the lights all the way through, it would just be dark. And I did a little bit of work in there by putting in some walls to make it look a little more like an actual flight deck. And I wanted to show it off, but when I did that, I found that it was too bright. The three lights up front were just way too bright, so I took some Tamiya liquid smoke and just dabbed a little bit on each of the 3 lights and let that dry, and that dimmed out the lights enough to illuminate the very front here, but not super bright. I didn't want to look at the back and see a like spotlight coming out, so it gave it just the right amount of illumination. And of course the rest of it is fully lit to light the force perspective template. The decals are on. Now the decals, everyone already knows this about the decals for this model. They suck. So my recommendation is, and I should have done this myself, but I did not do it, mainly because I'm not comfortable making my own decals yet. I haven't done it yet. Did I miss this about there? Yeah, I did. Is if you get these, if you have this kit or you're getting this kit, I suggest is that you take the decals, scan them, and make your own. Because I can tell you right now, you're going to be wanting to throw this model across the room by the time the day's up. I almost did. Well, actually, almost did throw it. I wanted to. So my recommendation would definitely be to scan them and copy them. Okay. What I was able to do was some of the decals worked, some of them did not. The ones that didn't work, I had to paint. Hold on a second. I gotta fix that. Yeah, so, I'm sorry, I got a little sidetracked there. Yes, the decals that did not work. I just I scrapped them and painted them in place. Luckily, most of them worked, barely. I mean, I had to fit them together because they were broken on the paper, so I had to put them on in pieces. But I was able to get them to go together. The ones I could not see, they were completely trashed. Were the ones that went around the front of the flight pods, they were gone. I had to repaint those. I had to paint those completely. The ones that go on the rear, they broke at each. The one's broken right there. I got to fix. They broke at each of the bends, so I had to paint them up to fix them. This one went on pretty good. The ones on the star drive went on okay. The ones on the head, of course, did not go on okay. In fact, I had to paint. These are painted in. This is not a decal. That went on okay. And of course, their side, same thing. I painted them in. So I would say it's a good half and half painting and between painting, touching up, and the actual decals. So again, my advice to you is definitely scan them, copy them, and do it that way. The ones on the flight pod here were a mix. Some were broken, and I had to piece them in, and then I had to paint in other parts. So between all of that, I was able to get this stuff on, and I do have to go back through and do a little fixing. But that's my suggestion. If you happen to do this kit, definitely copy and reprint the decals for this model. You'll save you a lot of grief. With that being said, that's about it. I really have nothing else to go over. My hope is today to get this thing assembled completely and then give it a good dull coat and be done with it. Oh, the stand. I forgot to tell you about the stand. The stand is finished. So the kit base is right here. As you saw in my last video, I painted it. I dull coated it, so I didn't want it to be super glossy and shiny. As far as the base goes, like I said in my last video, it's just simply a PLA 3D printed base with resin printed side panels and top panel. Now these panels are my own design. I brought these in Tinkercad and I designed them. They're I call them my sci-fi panels. Just a bunch of greeblies and squares and different shapes, and I did a cutout for the switch. I did measure the switch and made the cutout to fit it snugly. And then I used a red craft paint with a little bit of black to give it kind of a crimson look. airbrushed it, glossed it, and I black washed it with acrylic black paint, and then wiped it off and dull coated it. And then I assembled this part to the base, and this is what we have. The black wash, I think, did an excellent job at really bringing out the detail on this, and I love this contrast against that. So that's about it for this video. My next video will be the final. This will be completely finished. And oh, you know what, I'm sorry, I jumped ahead. I almost forgot to show the lights. I was going to show you guys the lights in this thing. I'm not going to show lights in the flight pod because they always get blown out by the camera, but in my last video I do believe I posted a picture of the flight pods lit up, so you might want to check that out. But for right now, I'm going to go ahead and light up the 2 sections here, or 3 sections I should say. The mid, actually I can probably light the star drive up too, so you can kind of see what it looks like. Let me just put the backing on here. Let's see if I can get it to go. Yep, that should come off later. Okay. Let me put this. It's a nice snug fit. That's interesting. Oh, that's right. For some reason this does not. There it goes. Okay, it was just being a little stubborn. Alright, there we go. So let's start with the head of the ship. Now I did use fiber optics, but not in the way that normally you would use them. I kind of did the same trick I did on my one Star Destroyer that I built years ago. Is I basically cut the fiber optics into about a ½ inch long strip and just put some camping glue on the end and poked them through the holes. And then I took a flattened toothpick and pushed them to be flush with the body. And this will be running at 12 volts, by the way. Now, there's the top, side. The bridge, which is really blown out right now, but it's not that bright in person. And then underneath you have the kind of like I call the headlights, the ones that are facing directly forward. Other side, and the bottom. The reason why I chose, oh, and also there are some lights on the back side too. You can see there. The reason why I chose to do the fiber optics is because I wanted the lights to be very visible no matter what direction you were looking on this ship. So that's why I did that. It just really brings out the lights, or brings them forward, I should say. Good thing is there's not a lot of lights to this kit, or a lot of windows, thank God. Saved me a lot of drill time. There's one side. There's the other. Let me try to get a different angle here. There we go, a little better. And on the top I've got some lights coming off here. Now the lights are fairly Canon. I took pictures of the certain scenes where they were in battle over the Galactica, and it gave a lot of different angles for the ship, and I took stills from that so I could kind of gauge where lights would be drilled at. I wanted to keep it as close to Canon as possible in that respect. Let's get the star drive lit up. I think actually a star drive came to my favorite part, to be honest. Alright, now I'm not going to get it's not going to get blown out, but yeah, it's getting, sorry guys, it's getting extremely, that's extremely blown out. Let's see if I can block some of this off so you can see the red part. There's the red. Yeah. Now it's not as bright as what you're seeing in the camera, but it's bright. Very, very bright, which is what I wanted. And I'm not seeing, I'm actually seeing some hot spots, which I was trying to avoid. I should be able to fix that, though, a little bit of frosting. And it looks like I'm probably going to have some light leaks I have to take care of once I get this thing into position, which I kind of figured might be the case. So, but that's okay. I figured that was going to happen. All right, come on. There we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to actually frost the back side of this. I'm thinking with a little bit of white paint. Just a thin layer of white should diffuse it a little bit more. I mean, I already got diffused already with the milk carton plastic, but it's not enough. So yeah, I'm going to spray this with some white paint just to finish the diffusion. That'll be easy to do. So anyway, that is where I'm at. Hopefully my last video will be the final on this build, and I can wrap it up. Now my next build, I think I'm going to be working on a bird of prey. I have not the repop version, but I have one of the older 80 versions kits that I've had for a while. I was thinking of doing that, so that might be the next build. Might be the Klingon bird of prey. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to shut this video down. I want to get to working. Oh, one more thing. I'm sorry. I keep saying that, saying I'm going to shut the video down, and I go back to something else. I wanted to quickly overview the fiber optic situation. Now, those of you have seen these, I know they're all over the place. Have you ever, well, I'm not saying have you ever, you know the things you can buy in the dollar store? They have all these fiber optics that are like bloomed out, kind of like this. And they have an RGB at the bottom. They all light up different colors and fade in, fade out. Well, you can order these online for about $1.75. They're just the kind that have the base, and you just plug them in and light them. They just light up. Now, what I love about these things, and this is an idea that I got from Walt at Starfleet Model Academy. He uses them, and what's nice about these things is they're cheap, and they come with a lot of fiber optics. I mean, all this is just on one fiber optic, or one bundle. That's a lot of fiber optics. Now, these are about 5.5 to 0.6 millimeters in diameter, which is perfectly sized for what I'm doing. I take a micro drill, a 0.5, drill the holes out, and these fiber optics fit perfectly in those holes, just like they were made for it. I just got on Amazon and I looked up RGB night lights, or RGB, I think it was RGB night lights, and it brought up a whole slew of different styles, and one of which was a little star-shaped base, and this stuck in the middle of it. And what's nice about it is when you get them from Amazon, you just pull this whole piece out. It just comes out in one shot like that. It just plugs in, comes out. And I love how it transmits light. Let me show you how much it transmits the light here. Let's see, I don't know how well it'll come through, but see how bright that is? Okay. So it does great on transmitting light. And they're cheap. And I bought a whole slew of them. I still have 4 of these. I just finished up one of these bundles already, but I've got 4 of these left. So, and like I said, they're great because all you do is pull this out of the base, and it's all connected. So it has a little storage. You just, as you need them, you just clip them off one by one. And like I said, I think just look up RGB night lights on Amazon, and you should be able to find these. And like I said, dirt cheap, well worth it. So, okay, now I think that's the end of the video. I think I've gone over everything I wanted to go over. If you guys have any more questions about this build or my lighting or the fiber optics, Let me know in the description below, and I will answer those questions. If you need a link to something, let me know, and I will try to find the link for you and post it. But just let me know in the comment section below. So until then, I will hopefully talk to you soon. Until then, take care of yourselves, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.